On my right is Robert Borsak from the Shooters and Fishers, and there's plenty to talk to him about. First off, can we start with deer and deer culling, because they say that the herds of deer are becoming unmanageable. Is that true or not?
Well, look, I think in certain parts of the state there are definitely too many of them. The droughts have aggregated them. There's no question of that. This government actually destroyed the one mechanism we had in place back in 2012. It was called the Game Council, New South Wales, whose job it was to make sure that these game and feral animals are under control. Farrell got rid of it, playing politics with us, and now you see what you see. The reality, of course, is that we don't stand in the road of any of that. If a farmer has a right to manage his land the way he needs to, they can get rid of the deer any way they like. We don't care about that. But what we do say is, please don't waste the meat. Either use it for pet food or eat it yourself. There are plenty of volunteers who will help. The other thing I think is going on here too, and that's the Nationals are trying to get deer declared as a pest. OK, they can do that, but what's their end game? Their end game is they're trying to see to it that they can distribute as much poison, 1080, all over the state. That's what they use in New Zealand by the tonne, and that's where they're heading here in New South Wales. Private contractors, a mob called Pest Smart, they're in it up to here.
Really?
Oh, absolutely.
Because that 1080, that's nasty stuff.
That's nasty stuff. They'll tell you, oh, you know, no, it's only got a very short half-life, 1 week, 2 weeks, it's fine. Well, I challenge one of them to put it on their bloody Wheaties after a week and eat it. See how they go. I tell you, I wouldn't do it.
No, I don't think they would either. I think there's a lot of hypocrisy on this, but hypocrisy and politics go hand in hand
yep.
too often. I think there's no doubt about that. Now, probably the biggest issue in Australia is water, because we are dry. This continent, we're not over endowed with lots of water, and so we've had a lot of calls from Pauline Hanson of recent times for dam on every corner, so to speak. What's your view on all that?
Well, look, we are, as you say, we're the driest continent in the world. We've got 120 years worth of history of irrigation, probably the most complex irrigation systems in the world as well, considering the dryland farming that we're doing. Just to talk about, and the big focus, of course, at the moment is the Murray-Darling Basin Plan and the irrigation processes that are going on there. We saw the ABC run a show that was basically saying that the large irrigators were getting paid money to build dams on their properties and all that sort of stuff. Well, I don't actually have a problem with that, because the coalition government under Turnbull was saying, well, if we're going to take water away, then what you should be doing is be able to store and keep the water you've got. But that's working for the big farmers and the big irrigators, but it's not working for the small ones. So now we're in the crazy situation where we're in the middle of a drought. I would have thought the Murray would be dry at this time if it was a natural flow, of course, which it's not. But the Murray is running a banker. And all the poor irrigation farmers, they're dry, they can't grow anything, they can't afford even to buy the water. So it's not working for them. The triple bottom line isn't working for anybody. It's only working on one issue, and the triple bottom line, the environment. The environment gets 70% of the water. So there are obviously a lot of people unhappy in that neck of the woods. Otherwise, we wouldn't have won 2 seats at the last state election. Murray and Barwon. The Murray-Darling Basin Plan. Yeah,
winning lower house seats for you was a pretty big effort.
Well, it was a big effort. We succeeded beyond our wildest dreams, to tell you the truth, Richo. But what it also did was opened our eyes to the absolute slow-motion train wreck that's going on in those communities. It's no water equals no crops equals, you know, communities suffering, shops closing, schools, everybody, people leaving. Now, how long has this got to go on before we put a stop? New South Wales puts a stop to the Murray-Darling Basin Plan. That's what needs to happen. And we need to start thinking about not just the triple bottom line.
So what's wrong with the Murray-Darling Plan? Because it was all negotiated between everybody, everyone had an oar in the water.
That's right. Well, originally it was the Murray-Darling...
pun there.
Originally it was the Murray-Darling Commission. It got overturned in 2007 by a new Federal Water Act, which, guess who was behind all of that? Mr Turnbull. And the environment takes precedent now. And basically what the feds have done have taken away the constitutional right of the state to manage water to themselves, using some international convention to save the southern or the lower Murray Ramsar protected wetlands. So all of a sudden, the feds are now in charge of something that the state should be looking after. And what we say is New South Wales should take back what it is entitled to take back, because it's not being managed fairly. New South Wales is not getting its fair share of water. You can criticise the big irrigators as much as you like, but when we're in the middle of a drought and a small farmer cannot afford to buy water because he's got to pay money for it on the open market, or he can't get an entitlement flow that he's already paying for, well, then who's it working for? Not working for us, not working for the farmers. You know, that whole basin provides, I think by volume, something like 40% of all of the agriculture in Australia.
Yeah, it's massive, I know.
Massive. Well, it's shrinking. It's shrinking.
And so what would you do?
Well, I'd suspend the plan for 5 years, and I'd have a very close look at actually bringing the triple bottom line back into balance. So I'd bring the social, the environment and the economic back into balance. At the moment, the economic and the social, forget about them, 70% goes to the environment. And then we've still got them screaming in South Australia and the feds, both bipartisan large parties, saying, oh, excuse me, we want more environmental water. Well, hang on, what's going to be left for the farmers? And then the whole process, the way it's stitched up, they can't get access to water that they were entitlements they're already paying for. So how does that supposed to work? You know, it's not fair, it's not right. If it was working, you wouldn't see our people sitting in those seats, you'd see National Party people sitting there.
Yeah, that's probably true. Do you think you can win more?
We're going to work on it, that's for sure. I think there are other opportunities, and I think also there are opportunities at the federal level as well, because this has been stolen from the state responsibility, and as I said earlier, and it's been handed over to the feds. Now, if we're going to do something at that level, it's got to be done at a federal level. But this is a long, slow haul. This train wreck has got to where it is because both the major sides of politics, Labor and the Coalition, have taken a bipartisan approach on this. The environment's more important than everything else. Well, you know, I'm just a simple accountant, you know, who happened to end up in politics, but my reality is if there was a drought, then the Murray would be dry. The irrigation systems were set up for irrigators, but now the whole thing since 2007 has been turned on its head. Yeah,
it's certainly somewhat different, but I wonder how much more water you take out. I mean, I like to see the Murray flowing.
I like to see it too, but I like to see green paddocks as well.
Yeah, I do, but I just there's something about the Murray River that matters to us. You know, it's sort of part of the national soul. It's more than just a river. Because when it goes dry, Australia looks horrible, you know, so you've got to try and stop that happening.
Well, yeah, look, the whole network, of course, has been changed over the last 120 years. There's no question, or even longer than that. It's not a natural flow anyway. I mean, the Snowy River is running backwards, you know, but still, at the moment, 70% of the water is going to environment. At what stage does it actually get to a stage where farmers can rely on a flow during drought? You know, if they can only afford it when times are good, then what's the point of having farming at all?
Is Snowy 2 worth it?
No, it's a mug's game.
I look at it.
The economics just don't work.
I can't see the arithmetic.
No, yeah,
I mean, I'm only a simple fellow. I have no expertise in the area, but I can't see as I said, on the arithmetic how it works.
No, it doesn't. I can't see how it works either. I mean, you're going to run the water down the hill, and then at night...
And take it back up.
You're going to pump it back up and cost twice as much to pick up as what it does when it's sent it down here.
Yeah, that's what I think. I just look at that and I think, well, that can't work. You know, but somewhere along the line, someone's told someone that it can.
Well, it's because someone, again, we had a Prime Minister whose name was
Turnbull,
yeah, another environmental genius. Well, guess what? We've got this environmental fix, and then they throw $4.5 billion at the New South Wales government. The New South Wales government thinks it's Christmas, and what do they spend it on? You know, I don't know, pork barrelling. Yeah,
pork barrel. That's usually the way it goes. Well, look, thank you very much for your time. This is a huge issue. I don't think that water is going to go away. I mean, issues like deer culling, they might come and go with seasons, but this is definitely going to be here with us for a long time to come.
This is a long-term, well, I'm going to call it a fight for us, because we have to get a fair share and a proper triple bottom line result for the farmers of New South Wales.
Yeah, how many of the farmers support you, do you reckon?
Well, that's a good question. In this most recent election, we saw our vote go up at the statewide franchise by 42.5%. Which is a huge jump for us. It's the biggest we've ever had.
Huge jump for anyone.
Yeah, and at the individual electorates, let's say in Murray, we ended up, I think, with about 55 or 57% two-party preferred, which was really good, and I think a little bit better than that in Barwon, and 65%, I think, in Orange.
That's a pretty good result. I've got to say the shooters and fishers are here to stay. And if I were the National Party, I'd understand that.